Yo, what's up guys, my name is Nick and welcome to episode 25. It's already one quarter to 100. So let me know if you think if we can get to 100 episodes on this series this year. As we move on into the Grand Prix of Australia, we are upgrading again with the amount of cash that we have. We have 5.7 million in total. So we are going to do the resource point generation at the powertrain. So that will be upgraded and we will get more resource points as we have two failed powertrain upgrades. But we are going to upgrade them again and they are going on the car in time for the Australian Grand Prix. But let's move into the results then. You can see we have a lot of resource points. It's in total more than 3,000 points, so we can do some upgrades in a few episodes time, as there are also some development boosts, which are really useful if we want to get some discounts on our upgrades and maybe get even more upgrades in for the same amount of points. But that's enough about practice, let's get into qualifying. Moving into our first flying lap then of the qualifying, you can see this is quite a fast track, as now some corners have been resurfaced and some corners have been changed as we are going through turn 9 and 10, which were previously turn 11 and 12. But as we move on to the end of our first flying lap, it was not really a good lap, but it was a banker, so that is well enough. As we put it in 119.2, and we wanted to do a second flying lap, but Button was in the way. So we do a flying lap at the end of the session because we had some underbody damage. But as you can see, we are up by 2/10 and we are improving quite a lot. Hopefully we can get into qualifying too, as we are last on the last place currently. But with a 8/10 improvement, will it be enough for us to get into Q2? Well, if we cross the line, you can see that we finish in P17, so that means that we are not through to qualifying 2. Of course, the results are all very close together, as between P1 and P14 the difference is less than 0.6 of a second. But as you can see, we were just behind our teammate who is through to Q2. So hopefully he can put in a good qualifying and maybe even get into Q3. But we will see that once we see the lineup for the grid, of course, as there are no surprises of who is going out in qualifying 1, except us, of course.
The crowd are here and it's brilliant to see them lining the track here in Albert Park. It's going to be a fantastic day of racing. Welcome everybody to the Australian Grand Prix. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. It's a combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners, making it a very tricky track when it comes to overtaking. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Verstappen, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Perez, Sainz, Ricciardo, Vettel, and Esteban Ocon, Magnussen, Norris, Guan Yu Zhou, and Gasly, Button, Stroll, the engineer, and Robert Schwartzman, Albon, Mick Schumacher, Tsunoda, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
So, 95 Racing starts in P15 and P17 then for this race. We are on split strategies as my teammate is on the soft tires. I thought the medium to hard tires was a better strategy. As you can see, it's still a one stop for the both of them. But it would feel a bit better for me as we are starting further down the grid. And I think it's the best that we don't use our softs to get through the pack and not get well with these tires. So I'm opting to go with the medium tires for the first stint then, as we are lining up for the grid. You can see the last cars are now going onto the grid into their slots. As we are starting the Grand Prix right now. You can see the formation lap has ended and the lights are coming on. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the lights are out, and away we go. And you can see we have a reasonable start. We lose a few positions, but we are used to that by now. You can see us between the Williams and the AlphaTauri. Unfortunately, we had the inside line, so we didn't get a good exit, which meant that the AlphaTauri could pass us, but luckily Nicholas Latifi is still behind us as we go for a dive bomb down the inside of 4 cars. Unfortunately, we could only overtake 2 of them, or even 3, I think. Yes, 3 cars actually, as we are now slotting in behind Robert Schwartzman, who we are trying to overtake in the next couple of laps, of course. Here in lap 1 then, you can see through turns 9 and 10, we are also close behind them, as they are on the soft tires, so we need to remember that, as they will be faster in that first stint for a few couple of laps, as we almost crashed into the back of him. Luckily that didn't happen, so we can continue our race then, as Stroll is doing some weird things with some weird lines. Luckily he doesn't crash, or just not into us. If he crashed, it wouldn't matter too much. As we are finishing the first lap then, we are in P18, 1 place down from where we started, but that doesn't matter too much as we have still 28 laps to go to make that up and even try to get into the points, as we always want to get points, of course. We have now currently a point streak of 2 races, so hopefully we can continue that to 3 races as we go side by side with Robert Schwarzman, a purple second sector, and we overtake him. That was a beautiful overtake from us. So now we are up into P17. That's once again a new position for us. And as you can see, we are now behind Lance Stroll and Zhou Guanyu. And what I saw in the last episode was that Zhou Guanyu is the only driver who doesn't have his name in full capital letters. So yeah, that surprised me a little bit, but of course it's his first name. As we have once again a purple sector through sector 2. But moving on into sector 3 then, you can see we are also close behind Stroll. And we move to the inside and we overtake Stroll. I don't know what that black screen was for a second, but that doesn't matter too much as we are now up into P16. So we are really strong on these medium tires compared to those on the softs, as those tires will die off in just a few laps time. So we will get the overcut on them, of course. As you can see, we are inside the DRS of Zhou Guanyu and my teammate, who is in front of him, only 8 tenths ahead of us. You can see we are in a big DRS train, and hopefully we can use that DRS train to get ahead of everybody, as they will be pit stopping around lap 7, as we are now in lap 5 then, still behind Zhou Guanyu. But through turn 9 and 10 we go, and we go side by side and we overtake him. We go wide, but that doesn't matter too much. We overtake Zhou Guanyu, and you can see here on the replay then, we are still behind and we go side by side. He just runs a little bit wide. Ooh, a big shunt for him there. Or a big slide for him. As we see from his onboard now, you can see side by side and he goes wide, and that gives me the opportunity. Of course, it wasn't the cleanest move. But it was one that was a beautiful opportunity for us. I see yellow flags. It is just because I think Alexander Albon spun, but he is already on the road again. So it doesn't matter too much as we are on lap 6, not in lip 6. behind our teammate 2 seconds. That was of course because we battled with Zhao Guanyu and we went through the gravel trap. Luckily we didn't get stuck. And Stroll is quite close behind. We have a small gap to Zhao Guanyu behind him. But we are of course trying to gain that time that we lost back to our teammates. As it's only 1.1 second then. We are closing up. Of course their tires are already dying off as they are coming to their first pit stop. The first and only I should say. But maybe some drivers are going to do a 2-stop. I don't think anyone will. But we go through the turn 9 and 10. You can see we go wide once again. We cut the inside of turn 10, but luckily we didn't get any warning for that, as we are now overtaking everybody who is on the soft tires. We are currently in P11 as the soft runners have gone into the pits. So that means that we now need to push as much as we can so we can overtake them once we go into the pits. As we jump a lap, and it's lap 11 right now, you can see we are behind the 2 McLarens. And we cut a corner once again, but no warning for us. I have it on strict for undercutting, so don't think I have it on regular. But as you can see, Ricciardo is into the pits, and so are we. As we almost crash into the inside barrier. Luckily that didn't happen. As we go into the pits then, it's 80 kilometers per hour, and we get a beautiful pit stop. But we go out of the pits, and you can see we are currently in P10 then. Who did we overtake into the pits? I don't know. But we are in P10 and we are still in P10, and we have overtaken Gasly, Norris and a few other drivers like my teammates. As you can see now, Vettel is also into the pits at the end of lap 14 then. But he comes out miles ahead of us, as we won't be seeing them anytime soon. Maybe if they overtake us, or to lap us I should say, as Norris is really close behind us, only 1/10 between me and him. And he has some DRS, or he has the DRS, not some, he has all of it. And he tries to go around the outside, but we block the inside and we have contact with him. But luckily nothing too major, as we are now trying to get away from them as fast as possible. We are of course on newer soft tires, as you can see in lap 18 then, and we have a gap ahead and a gap behind. So that means that we don't really have any content to show you, unfortunately, as we are just driving around in circles, as most people would say, but without any challenges then.
It looks like we might have an issue. Hang in there, we're attempting to manage it.
Well, I've just jinxed myself, or didn't I? Oh, you can't be serious, mate. Last time around, when we were here at Australia, we had our first double points finish. This time around, we may have a DNF. So hopefully we can continue this race. There's only 10 laps remaining. And you can see we are in the points, so hopefully we aren't going to DNF. But we do. This is so sad, mate. Like last time around we had a double points finish and our car was way worse, and now we have a good car, or a reasonable car, and we have a DNF. I am really going to invest into durability, as we are holding up everybody. Nobody's overtaking us. There goes Norris and through goes Button as well. But we crashed into the wall as well. I didn't do this was my AI, but that is our race done.
Another superb Australian Grand Prix comes to an end then, and it's a thoroughly deserved victory. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
I've just noticed this now, but as you saw maybe, Charles Leclerc is driving with car number 1 and Max Verstappen has gone back to car 33. I didn't even know this was in the game, but as you can see now, it is a win for Charles Leclerc. Alonso on P2 actually, which is really great for him. Of course, we want to beat him in the Constructors titles, or in the Constructors Championship, but that will be hard. Hopefully, when once we upgrade our car with some major upgrades and even an ultimate upgrade, we will be faster than them. But you can see Jenson Button in P13 then. And that really was quite confusing to me, as I thought like, huh, Max Verstappen is not in a Ferrari. But that is, I think, once there is a new champion, you can switch your car to number 1. Of course, you can do that in real life, but I didn't know that was in the game. So you can see it's a DNF for us and Ocon. Ocon having a DNF as well in the last episode, if I remember correctly. And I saved the full race because that's how I can get the off-board cams. You can see we are still in P9 then, as Jensen moves up into P19. But we are still in P6 for the constructors. It's going to be really hard to overtake Alpine and McLaren, so maybe P6 is for us this season. But we will see what the future has for us, as we have a lot of upgrades coming in the future of this season. So hopefully by the end of this season we can get a few podiums, or maybe even a win like we did last year. So yeah, hopefully we can do that, as we are still winning in the rivalry, and our team acclaim is currently level 16. Hopefully we can get it up into level 20 to get our final sponsor, as I think that should be possible around season 3 or maybe even season 4. As we get all of our sponsors then. And we had some damage, of course, running into a wall, which wasn't even something that I did, but of course we got damage from that, as we are now once again over $5 million. But that will be it for today's episode. If you want to see the next episode, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, then you need to wait until then, or you can click on the screen right now if you are late. But let's enjoy this one. Goodbye.